All right, in today's video, I want to talk about how you should be weary of takers and how you should be weary of yourself becoming a taker. So, what I mean by this is there's always this give and take in this world, right? But there's a lot of people who might be receptive to a lot of information and not quite have the understanding of then to serve that person who helped them. You know, the classic adage where it's, um, you know, the student becomes a mentor, right? Like obviously we all start off as a student and then we will become the mentor to others and help those that are a couple steps behind us. This is the similar idea that you are called upon to serve. You are called upon to specifically, I believe, serve the person that you were 1 to 3 years ago. So whatever hardship you had just gone through, you, in my opinion, you have the ability and the know-how and the experience to go serve that person. And there's plenty of them out there. You just got to go find them. But you want to be weary of people who are always asking for discounts, people are always asking for free value, people are always asking for favors, and they're not either taking action on all the things you share with them, because you're just going to waste your time and your bandwidth. You just stay away from those people, even if you feel called to serve them. It's a little bit of a nuance that you need to battle with, and I go through this myself. But, you know, Gary Vee talks about this where it's like jab, 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 hook. He wrote a whole book on it, and that's the idea of like, give, ask. And in business, that's like, you know, give free value, and then you can ask for the sale, or then you can ask to get on a call with them. Alex Hormozy, who I'm sure many of you are familiar with if you're watching my channel, he's got a great saying where it's just give some more. And I would always caution on the side of being a giver. You know, there's a great book called by Bob Berg and John David Mann. I've interviewed both of them on my podcast, The Daily Author. I've even interviewed Bob on my first podcast ever, which happened during COVID. You could probably find those through the archives. It's called Everyday Extraordinary. But they wrote a book called The Go-Giver, and it's essentially this concept of being someone who goes the extra mile, being someone who is a service of others, and being a true giver versus someone who is looking to take from others. So you really want to be weary of these people because most importantly, they're going to take away your time and your bandwidth if you let them fill up your DMs, fill up your phone call. It's the classic, you know, let me pick your brain type of people. You know, if you have any level of influence on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and when I mean influence, I mean like literally having a presence on there, just having an account, especially if you have a small account versus a large account. And I've seen this because my Twitter is pretty small, but my Instagram and LinkedIn are larger. You're going to get so many people in your DMs saying, can I pick your brain? Can I offer you this? Right out of the gate, no rapport building, no nothing, just straight to pitch. And I don't know why that's the approach. I don't know who's teaching that, but clearly that's not the approach in business to just have that mentality. But, you know, when I was in college basketball working under Dan Hurley, two-time champion at UConn, he wouldn't say this, but it was this mentality that you kind of had around the atmosphere. It was, what have you done for me recently, business? And here's a quick story, you know. So I was at University of Rhode Island, and I was a student manager from essentially the second I stepped on campus all the way through my senior year. I busted my butt. I gave them so much value, so much of my time. I was very reliant. I was very reliable. I was just someone that they could always call upon at any moment. I was responsible for so many things like the jerseys and the food and all the equipment to go on road games and home games, etc. Now, where I believe I got my moment to ask for them was to ascend to UConn, which was coach's next job, and then I became a graduate assistant there, if you're familiar with my story whatsoever. But what have you done for me recently mindset or phrase comes from is I gave them 9 months of my time. I went home for the summer for those 3 months, right? I always felt that I shouldn't put all my eggs into one basket. You know, I always felt like I had to cross my T's, dot my I's. I spent so much time in basketball, but what if that didn't work out? I wanted to get internships and go back home and work on something that could further my career if basketball doesn't work out. I think at the college level, that's a fine mindset. You should have your hands in a couple different buckets, but then I think you have to get to a point where you do need to go all in on one thing and burn the boats. But there was a foreign tour trip. Every 4 years, the college team goes on a foreign tour. They went on a trip to Italy the summer of me going into freshman year. So I knew by my fourth year, my senior year, I would be the guy to come up and go on that foreign trip with them. Now, who doesn't want to go to Italy for free, right? With a basketball team. Like, that was such a dream for me. So the time comes around. It's senior year. We're getting ready for the foreign tour. It's not Italy. It was first Paris, and then there was unfortunately those bombings, if you remember, in 2018. But they moved it to the Bahamas, I believe. And they didn't take me. They didn't take me on the trip. And it wasn't because I wasn't a hard worker, or it wasn't because I busted my butt or they didn't respect me. It was because I wouldn't spend my summers on campus, and that's when the discussion was happening. And another manager took the spot because he was there for the summers. Now, I love the other manager, and he knows that, but he also knows that I worked a whole lot harder than he did during our 4 years. So it was frustrating to bust your butt and give all that time and energy to be left off that trip that I had my eyes on for 4 years. But it was an extremely valuable lesson to me that no one owes you anything, and you have to create your own future, and you can't wait for handouts. And this is back to this whole point of being weary of takers, and that has completely changed my mindset to not be a taker, to be someone who gives, and then if you give enough, the asks will come. You have to wait for those moments. But and then don't get me wrong, like, there are moments where you do need to ask. If you're running a business, like, you should set up your business in a proper way where you're providing value, and then there's an ask if someone wants to move forward with you. But it's not to be super pitchy off the bat, is my point here. So yeah, that's the spiel today. Sauna talk, third video. That's what I'm feeling today. To be weary of takers and be weary of yourself, and know that life is a mirror. So if you're late on payments for people that you're working with, your contractors, your clients are going to be late for payments on you. If you're asking so much from others, but you're not doing enough for yourself, others are going to have the same reaction on you. So you need to know that life is a true mirror, and the habits and reflections you put into your mirror will come back your way. So if you bust your butt and you're attentive and you pay on time and you go the extra mile, I guarantee you other people will do that for you too. So that's today's video. I hope that was valuable. Please like, subscribe, and hit that push notifications bell if this is interesting to you. I love making these videos. They're raw, they're authentic, they're all off the top of my head after a great workout, and there'll be more coming. So till then,